Can the Federal Reserve stop the avalanche of bank runs that has already started? Michael Snyder reports, what in the world just happened? On Friday, Silicon Valley Bank SVB collapsed and was taken over by regulators, the FDIC. And then on Sunday, regulators swooped in and shut down New York Signature Bank. In a desperate attempt to prop up faith in our rapidly failing banking system, the Federal Reserve unveiled an emergency plan late on Sunday that is absolutely staggering. All of the depositors at Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank will be protected, and all of them will have access to their money right away. They are not calling this a bailout, but that is essentially what it is. But will it be enough to stop the bank runs that are already happening? Late last week, huge lines at Silicon Valley Bank quickly made headlines all over the nation. Colin Rugg tweets, new massive line forms outside Silicon Valley Bank, California. Welcome to Biden's America, it will only get worse, he tweeted. The panic at Silicon Valley Bank quickly spread to other banks in California. In particular, First Republic Bank was hit really hard. Dozens of customers lined up outside of the First Republic Bank in Southern California on Saturday, eager to withdraw their funds in the wake of the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. There had been fears following SVB's demise for First Republic's future when analysts pointed out the similarities between the estimated value of their assets versus the actual value. As news of what was unfolding in California spread like wildfire on social media, soon there were lines at various banks all over the nation. But most of those that have been pulling money out of U.S. banks over the past few days never stood in any line, and that is because we now live in an era where most banking is done on phones and computers, e-banking. Question, how did $42 billion get withdrawn Friday alone with thousands in line? Answer, your phone. This is not the Bailey Savings and Loan anymore. This should scare the hell out of bankers and regulators worldwide. We have never seen anything quite like that, what we've witnessed on Friday, and when it became clear that Silicon Valley Bank was collapsing, unsecured depositors engaged in a mad scramble to get their money out while they still could. Alexander Torrenegra tweets, Silicon Valley Bank was the main bank for two of our companies, my personal savings and my mortgage. This is how things unfolded for us. Between 2013 and 2023, all good. Thursday, 9 a.m., in one chat with 200 plus tech founders, most in the Bay Area, questions about SVB started. Now, and this was not just happening in the United States. Silicon Valley Bank had branches all over the planet. And so the panic that we are watching was truly global. Startup founders in California's Bay Area are panicking about access to money and paying employees. Fears of contagion have reached Canada, India, and China. In the UK, SVB's unit is set to be declared insolvent, has already ceased trading, and is no longer taking new customers. On Saturday, the leaders of roughly 180 tech companies sent a letter calling on UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt to intervene. The loss of deposits has the potential to cripple the sector and set the ecosystem back 20 years, they said in a letter seen by Bloomberg. Many businesses will be sent into involuntary liquidation overnight. This is just the beginning. SVB had branches in China, Denmark, Germany, India, Israel, and Sweden too. Founders are warning that the bank's failure could wipe out startups around the world without government intervention. SVB's joint venture in China, SPD Silicon Valley Bank Company, was seeking to calm local clients overnight by reminding them that operations have been independent and stable. Of course, not everyone that had money in SVB got burned. For example, Peter Thiel and his minions got their money out in time. Peter Thiel's Founders Fund had no money in Silicon Valley Bank as of Thursday morning, as the bank descended into chaos, according to a person familiar with the matter. Founders Fund withdrew millions from SVB, said the person who asked not to be identified, discussing private information. It joined other venture funds that took dramatic steps to limit exposure to the now failed financial institution. Founders Fund also advised its portfolio companies that there was no downside to moving their money away from SVB, even if the risk was low. And a number of key SVB executives conveniently sold off shares in the bank just last month. Bill Ackman, billionaire, tweeted, "From a source I trust, SVB financial depositors will get 50% on Monday or Tuesday, and the balance based on realized value over the next 3 to 6 months. If this proves true, I expect there will be bank runs beginning Monday morning at a large number of non-SIB banks. No company will even take," okay, well, whatever, you can get the gist. Bill, this may interest you. Before the collapse, executives sold shares. Gregory Becker, CEO, sold 11%, February 27. Michael Zucker, counsel, 19% on February 5. Daniel Beck, CFO, 32% on February 27. Michelle Draper, CMO, 25% on February 1st. But countless others did not pull the plug in time. Apparently, that even included Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. iSource News tweets, "Breaking, Harry and Meghan stand to lose millions in collapse of SVB Bank." Sources tell ISN the couple set up accounts following the advice of friends in Silicon Valley. "This is a major blow," said our source. "They had all of Harry's money there." Can you imagine? Oh, the humanity. There was no way that the Federal Reserve was going to allow Harry and Meghan to lose millions, so now they have stepped in with mountains of fresh cash, but this is the Fed preparing to do this all for the other banks that will soon be in trouble as well. According to CNN, U.S. banks were sitting on $620 billion in unrealized losses as the end of the last year. Silicon Valley Bank's collapse last week sent tingles of panic down investors' spines as it highlighted a larger problem across the banking sector. The widening gap between the value large lenders place on the bonds they hold and what they're actually worth on the market. SVB's downfall was tied in part to the plunge in the value of bonds it acquired during boom times when it had a lot of customers deposits coming in and needed somewhere to park the cash. But SVB is not the only institution with that issue. U.S. banks were sitting on $620 billion in unrealized losses, that is, assets that have decreased in price but have not been sold yet, at the end of 2022, according to the FDIC. This crisis is far from over. As I've been arguing for years, our deeply flawed system simply cannot survive without an artificial support. What has transpired over the past several days is clear evidence of this fact. The Federal Reserve has decided to ride to the rescue once again, and the financial community is cheering. But will it be enough to stop the wave of panic that has now been unleashed? We shall see. And this is by Michael Snyder. About the author, he says, "My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've published thousands of articles on the economic collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this About the Author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.